This is Don't Panic, episode number 166, recorded June 19th, 2017. Whole Fools. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Don't Panic, the technology podcast that only has two hosts. It's only ever had two hosts. I'm one of them, Sean. He's the other one, Colby. That's it. There's no one else. Hi, everybody.
Dan Miller is a lie.
Don't believe it. He's never really Can you prove he's ever existed? I don't think so.
I can't. I don't see him right now. So what if he was just a figment of my imagination?
I like how you have the peekaboo like theory of modern existence, where it's like, if I don't see it, it's not the peekaboo. It's like,
yeah. What is that, like object permanence or something?
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Imagine. Also, it could be the case that one of us, like, this whole show is just a figment of one of our imaginations, whichever one of us happens to be real, right? And like both you and Dan don't exist, and I'm just, maybe if it's me, perhaps like I'm predisposed to think that I'm the real one in this situation, but I could just be standing in my apartment looking at a blank computer screen, just like talking to the wall.
I don't know. I am pretty mentally ill, so it could be me. I don't know. It really could be any of us. But I do like the idea of us alone in our homes, just like talking at the computer,
right,
about the tech news of the week.
Right. Or maybe we just have a weird telepathic link and we're all talking, but we haven't actually been recording a podcast. That would also be weird.
I don't think anyone would notice.
Pointless, but weird.
Oh my God, that's the slogan for the show. Pointless, but weird. That's a really good one.
We did just redo the website. We can change the slogan.
Oh boy. Fantastic. Well, good to be here. Good to be back. Thanks everybody for joining us. We're not live tonight on Facebook because Facebook decided to be broken, as they do sometimes. So thank you for listening to the recorded version, as always, on our website at don'tpanic.io. Gee whiz, what's been going on, Colby? Anything worth bantering about?
I feel like something's happened since the last time. It got warm.
Nice.
No, I guess it was really hot the last time. The last show we did. Because I remember, because my computer was melting.
That's right.
And I was also melting. Yeah, I don't know. Skype's not broken this week, but Facebook is, so.
Which is good. Today was the first day at my new job today, and as part of that was safety training, and they showed us one of those just perfect 90s era safety videos, like manufacturing safety videos, where it's that fun mix of like the cheesy 90s music and the like grotesque blood-filled injuries, where they buzzsaw an arm in half and blood goes everywhere. And they threw in with that really terrible early CGI that they used to show. Oh, we were all laughing in the room. The last thing you should be laughing at is a safety. And honestly, it's good advice. It truly is. But they had like the cheesiest actors, like they'd be sticking like a screwdriver in an electrical panel like you do, and they got
right.
And then you fall over, and we just bust out laughing. It was so inappropriate.
But I remember. Did you take a driver's ed class?
Yes.
I vaguely I don't actually remember the video, but I remember there was this infamous video that like everyone knew about before the class, called like Red Asphalt or something, that I'm pretty sure was like that. But again, I don't remember it. Maybe it wasn't funny. It was just meant to scare you. But
there are great compilations on YouTube if you ever get the chance of like the worst moments from those safety videos. Where it's, like someone gets a vat of acid dumped on them, or, they fall off a ladder and get like impaled, and there's like a stick sticking through their chest. And it's so ridiculous, but it must work. I don't know. But
yeah, right.
Clearly there's a market. But anyway, I'm going to try. They threatened to put me up on they're going to put me up on a roof. I work for a company now that makes roofing products. And so they they want to send me to a construction site and put me up on a roof. And I tried explaining to them that was just I am the digital guy. Like, I will digitally go on the roof. Please do not make me do that.
You know what you hired me for, right?
Well, that's the other funny thing is, it is a manufacturing site. So all the guys I was doing orientation with are like actually working with the industrial machines making screws and stuff. And so every time they're like, Sean, this won't apply to you. Sean, this one, they're like, oh, make sure you're wearing the proper protective equipment when using dangerous chemicals. And they're like, Sean, this won't apply to you. I'm like, yay, good.
Huzzah. That's cool. Oh, I saw a tall ship this weekend.
No,
I actually I saw several. I only saw one like particularly close. The others were farther away. But it was tall. I didn't see Johnny Depp anywhere, so it was not. I didn't like fall into Pirates of the Caribbean or something. It was just the normal tall ships experience.
I feel like if you ran into Johnny Depp in your kind of like everyday life, I feel like something's going wrong in your life. Like, I feel like that's not a positive sign. Like if I saw Johnny Depp coming my way, I would turn and like cross the street.
Yeah, it's probably disturbing. Yeah, so
that was a big sailing event out there.
Yeah, so they bring all the ships, like the old-timey boats with like the big sails, the tall sails. They're tall ships. They have tall masts. And I guess they must like travel around the country or something. I don't exactly know what they do, but they were in Boston this weekend, so like they came in on Saturday or something. Or I think they're here for like the whole week, so you can go like see the ships and whatnot. But I think they came in on Saturday and they're here for the week. You can like go like tour the ships or something. I just looked at the ships. There were a lot of people around. That was fun though. I guess it's like prehistory-y if you're into that kind of thing.
I guess the question people probably really want answered from you is how much tea did you throw off the ships?
Yeah, I threw no tea. Well, I mean, I was about to say all of it in that I assume there was no tea on the ships, but there are like people who sail on the ships, and it seems almost certain that at least one of them drinks tea, so there's probably tea on the ship. So no, I didn't throw any.
You should run out there with like a packet of like Lipton tea and just like one packet, just chuck it off the bow. Take that, England.
Next, I mean, I guess there's still time. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow.
There you go. I would pay to see that.
Yeah. Oh my God, have you ever seen a Keytar Bear in Boston, or like seen? There's this like street performer person who wears like a bear costume and plays a guitar, but apparently he got like beat up and robbed this weekend, which made me really sad.
Recovering from attack, Keytar Bear vows, "I'll be back."
Yeah.
Oh my God, this photo. I'm going to put it on the screen for those watching the video version. That's kind of fantastic.
Yeah, but
it looks straight out of an indie movie.
Yeah, that's true.
Let's see. 3 New Hampshire teens were arrested on assault charges after Keytar Bear suffered a vicious beatdown in broad daylight. Oh no, there's not a video of it, is there? I'm not going to watch that. That's too sad.
Probably.
Spokeswoman said they were charged with assault and battery. They ripped off his mask, struck him several times while calling him racial slurs. Oh, that's so sad.
I don't understand what would compel someone to do that in the middle of the day. I mean, I don't understand what would compel them to do that in the middle of the night either, but...
Well, I feel like drunk 15, 16, and 17-year-olds really don't have any limits on what they can accomplish. So. Oh, look at that. He already has a GoFundMe. That's the upside.
Gotta capitalize, right?
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Strike while the iron's hot.
This is great. Everyone's getting a little flair of Boston, so... It's not just cream pies and beans, folks. They've got more.
Oh man, I haven't had Boston cream pie in so long.
It's good.
You know what the weird part about it is it's not pie, it's a cake. And it's not really cream either. It's like pudding in
custard.
the middle. Yeah, custard, I guess.
Yeah.
It's very strange.
Morons in Boston. Don't know what that
Yeah,
is.
I don't know what they were thinking. I love it though. I think it's great. Tastes good.
That we need to do. We need to have you on up for debate, and we need to rank Boston things. Like, what is the best Boston thing?
The best Boston thing?
Yeah.
Like, food-wise,
No,
or
just
anything?
literally anything. Boston Terriers.
Boston Terriers.
Boston baked beans. I'm sure there are other Survivor winner Boston Rob. I don't know. I'm sure there are a lot of things we could come up with.
The Freedom Trail.
Yes.
I have never been on the Freedom Trail.
No.
It's hard to say.
Colby, we should go on a date and go to the Freedom Trail. I think
Sure.
that would be fun.
Yeah, that sounds great. Anytime. It's like the Bunker Hill Monument or something. That's pretty Boston-y. Isn't it? It's not on Bunker Hill either, because that's not right. See, I know some history.
This is it. It's almost as if you live there.
Wow. Go me.
Oh, boy. I think just by watching this show, you get a college credit. So tell your professor.
Thank God. Maybe I'll finally graduate from Harris. Just kidding. I did.
Oh,
it was a concern
sadly.
for a while, but pulled it off.
Mission accomplished.
Yes.
All right. Let's jump into the news. What do you say?
Let's do it.
We actually have some stories this week. I know we went heavy on E3 last week. We've got no video games this week. We've just got a lot of stories. I think probably the biggest of the week. It's in the title. We talked about this ahead of the show, and that would be our friends over at the Amazon.com buying Whole Foods.
Crazy.
Whole Foods, not half the foods, not some of the foods, the Whole Foods, for a whopping $13.7 billion. That's purchasing its stock at $42 a share. They say the brick-and-mortar stores will continue to operate under the Whole Foods brand once the deal is complete, which is expected to happen later this year, although it is subject to approval by regulators and shareholders. Although in this current administration, I would think it would fly through. Jeff Bezos was quoted as saying, "Millions of people love Whole Foods Market because they offer the best natural and organic foods, and they make it fun to eat healthy. Whole Foods Market has been satisfying, delighting, and nourishing customers for nearly 4 decades. They're doing an amazing job, and we want that to continue." Now, Whole Foods will keep its headquarters in Austin, Texas, and the company's CEO, John Mackey, will remain in his post.
Interesting. So, one thing that immediately comes to mind is comparing this to other tech acquisitions. WhatsApp was like twice this, right? Twice two Whole Foods.
What's
1.9 Whole Foods or something.
It was just under 20, if I remember correctly.
Oh.
So you're about 3/4 of a WhatsApp.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 19 billion.
Okay. What was it? Did Yahoo ever sell? Did Verizon buy Yahoo, or did that not pan out?
Verizon bought AOL and Yahoo, and that literally the Yahoo deal just closed, like yesterday. Now here's a trivia question for you, Colby, and maybe you already know this because it's been in the news recently. But the Whole Foods purchase at $3.7 billion makes it the most expensive acquisition they've made in the history of the company.
Amazon has made?
Yes. Do you know what the now second largest is? Or what had previously been the largest?
Well, I can only think of one. Was it Twitch?
Hey, very good. It was Twitch. And do you remember for what they purchased that for? Oh, wait, no, I guess that's not true. I lied. Oh, it was because... All right, well, this is... All right, never mind. No, Twitch was... It was $970 million.
Oh.
And second to that was Zappos at $807 million. So not even close.
Zappos.
Magnitudes larger than anything they've ever done.
I was thinking like diapers.com or something. That was my other one, other guess.
What was amazing is when they bought a lot of those type of companies, the kind of smaller Woot, and they bought a bunch of those guys. Most of those were under $100 million.
Oh my God, Woot! I forgot about that.
Woot's the worst. I could go on it.
Is it still around?
Oh yeah, no. But everything I ever bought from them broke immediately when I got it. So they really bummed me out. Yeah, so IMDb, remember they bought IMDb?
Wow, I didn't remember that.
Audible,
yeah.
300 million,
Yeah.
and yeah,
Wow.
they haven't bought a lot of companies, so this is certainly a Comixology. Yeah.
Wow, that's so much more money.
Yeah, it's a lot of money. And for a company that, has money, they certainly picked a unique place to spend it. Some fun facts on Whole Foods. By the way, you may not know this. Whole Foods has over 450 locations and has nearly 100,000 employees. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
How 100,000 employees, like where does that rank in the grand scheme of like businesses that have a lot of employees? Like I would think if I were guessing like someplace like Walmart has way more employees than that.
Well, luckily, I can tell you, in the that can't be right. Oh shit, Business Insider. Walmart, guess how many people in the U.S. alone Walmart employs?
I don't know, like 1 million.
1.5 million.
That's so many people.
That's 1% of the U.S.'s working population. 1 in every 100 people in the U.S. work for Walmart.
Wow.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
That's insane.
So that means 0.1% of the working population work for Whole Foods.
Sure.
Yeah, which in it is kind of impressive in a way. I mean, perhaps not relative to Walmart, but
I was trying to look up the largest supermarkets in the U.S. To compare them.
Supermarkets are so weird because I always think, like in my mind growing up in New England, like Stop and Shop was like a universal thing, but it's not a universal thing. Like there are all kinds of supermarkets that you've never heard of in other places, like Piggly Wiggly, ridiculous, but it's a real thing. I guess it's kind of cool that they exist.
What fascinates me, and this is one of the things I wanted to talk about in talking about this story, is that recently, over the last decade, we've actually seen a surprising consolidation of the regional supermarkets, because you look at Kroger, for example, 2,400 stores, which is made up of about 10 to 15 different brands. They had Ralph's, Harris Teeter, Food for Less, Fred Meyer, Fry's, City Market, Smith, Scott's, all these ones that they've acquired over the years. And then there's, Ahold, which is, I think they're Dutch, and they have 2,200 stores. They own Hannaford, Stop and Shop, Giant, Food Lion. We've seen Albertsons is the same way. We've seen a consolidation into, and I don't think that's surprising. I think a lot of businesses are seeing that trend. But this is why I start thinking about, okay, where does Amazon and Whole Foods fit into this? Whole Foods was looking to get bought by somebody. Even if it wasn't Amazon, they were looking to sell.
I see.
Because more and more you're going to see these smaller chains start to get picked up by somebody. It's a land grab for supermarkets.
Right.
And so it's interesting to me that Amazon would jump in with Whole Foods.
Yeah. Do you think the are so like the big supermarket companies that are like consolidating, is it like do they rebrand the places they buy, or is it just they sort of like buy the various chains and like they stay whatever it is, like Stop and Shop stays Stop and Shop, but it's just owned by some like supermarket conglomerate?
Yeah, I mean, it's not the same for everybody, but as far as I know and I've read, most commonly they like to keep the brands the same unless there's overlap. So if you buy two chains that compete, then they'll either sell them off or rename them, or then things
or
get
like
funky.
make one the other or something.
Yeah, but you're right. For the most part, no, they like to keep the brands
so tricky.
because
You don't know they're taking over the world.
No, it is. It is very sneaky. I mean, well, this is happening in the entertainment space where, Comcast buys NBC and then they try and buy Time Warner and,
Right.
things start to get sketchy in that respect. It's the same in food. Do you really know where your food comes from? What is it? Like, Nabisco, or not even Nabisco, Kraft and these big food companies that own all the brands of food you eat. And you don't even realize exactly the scale because they keep consolidating.
Right.
Into monopolies. But, that's what interested me about the Whole Foods deal is that why Whole Foods? My first thought is if you're Amazon, you buy Costco.
Okay.
Because you're talking two warehouse models.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that makes sense. Amazon gets deals because they buy things in bulk. It's the same with Costco. They're both the logistics are very similar.
Yeah.
But why Whole Foods? Do you have any theories as to why Whole Foods? Before I try and jump on mine.
Right. So did you end up reading that Stratechery article?
I did. It was very good.
Yeah. So any theory I have is from that article.
Steal with pride.
All right. So, I guess so their premise was that Amazon is not in fact a retail company. Nor really a logistics company. Amazon's a services company. And so what Amazon does to so I guess they went through this other thing, which apparently they've written about before, which is that Amazon's goals are incredibly broad. So their goal is basically to just take a part of all commerce in the United States. And so ways they do that are Amazon.com, which is a lot of the retail space, right? You can buy almost anything on Amazon. Another way they do that is with Amazon web services. So tons and tons of businesses use Amazon web services as their, to host their information. HubSpot does, for example. And so in this article, their hypothesis is that the way Amazon bootstraps its services is by being its own biggest customer to start off with. And so they built these for AWS, they built these super, I don't know what you call it, generic units of compute that is useful to any business, and they built Amazon on top of it, right? And so Amazon is they're their own biggest customer, so they start they're already getting benefits from the economy of scale of having running all these gajillions of servers, and then they have this really solid, reliable server platform that they can sell to other companies and just make even more money, and they're going to keep doing they get immediate benefit from running Amazon on it, and then they get this fan out from the rest of the world. I say the world, that's an exaggeration, but all these other companies doing the same. So their theory with Whole Foods is that Amazon is trying to bootstrap their grocery business. So they didn't buy Whole Foods to get into the grocery retail market exactly. They bought Whole Foods to have someone to buy groceries from Amazon. And so theoretically, they have Whole Foods that buys all this food from them. So they get this, you said 400, 500 stores around the country. They're all going to be hooked into Amazon's grocery logistics, getting food from places. So they have lots of food moving through their fulfillment centers and things. I'm sure they also have fulfillment centers that they get in this Whole Foods deal, right? So they do that, and they have this they can sort of build this ecosystem thing around Whole Foods and then start selling that to other people. So whether that's Prime Pantry, they can bring Prime Pantry to more places because they already have distribution centers that they can send food to people, or Prime Pantry. What else am I thinking about? Oh, one of the other
Fresh.
things they suggested. Yeah, Amazon Fresh.
Yeah.
One of the other things they suggested is like maybe they could get into like sort of the restaurant business, so they could like restaurants could like get their produce and stuff from Amazon. So I thought that was really interesting, and I don't know, kind of like perspective changing, because like I think of Amazon as the website that I buy random like I guess lots, like any non-immediate need that I have, I purchase it on Amazon. So
Yeah, I mean, Amazon's playing chess and we're playing checkers, right? They're really ahead of, what is it? Estimated 2/3 of all households in America have Prime subscriptions. I mean, I love the article referenced Amazon wants Amazon wants a cut of every single thing you do in your life. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds like a good business. Like, how do I get a piece of that?
Right.
And that includes the food you buy. And I think, specifically when it comes to Whole Foods versus other supermarkets, Whole Foods was for sale. You can't just go buy something that's not for sale, or at least not with a lot more money. So they were for sale. But I also think Whole Foods is particularly interesting because Whole Foods is actually a limited selection of products compared to a traditional supermarket.
That's true.
I
can confirm, as a person who sometimes shops at Whole Foods.
I don't know how people shop exclusively at Whole Foods.
They have at least one of everything you would buy at a supermarket. It just might not be the thing that you wanted to buy.
I can't do that.
So I can't exclusively shop at Whole Foods because there are certain like name brand things that I just like better than the Whole Foods version, and I'm not gonna like not have the thing. I don't know. Like I want to buy the brand of toilet paper that I want to buy, not like Whole Foods like 3 times recycled, whatever.
That sounds terrible.
Yeah.
No, but I think that's what's unique. That's what's good for Amazon about this is they don't have to stock every food product ever made like a regular supermarket. So that's another advantage. But I think at the end of the day, you're right that this is all. They don't care if they run supermarkets or not. That's not the point. That doesn't matter. They'll run them or they'll close them or they don't. It doesn't matter. The point is really all about the back end.
Right. And I'm sure they would be totally fine with like doing this for other supermarkets that they didn't own, right?
Well,
like,
isn't that the end game,
right?
Isn't that eventually you get the Albertsons and the Krogers of the world to get their to get their industrial amounts of groceries from Amazon? If you think about it, we look back, Amazon's buying airplanes and cargo ships, and you're like, why would they do that? They're an online store, and it's like, no, they're not.
Right.
They're not.
They're like a fulfillment company now. Like they just deliver other people's stuff to you and they take a cut of it.
And they're really good at it. It's crazy how good they are at it. And so when you see a purchase like this, you're like, okay, you start to feel good and optimistic. Now, as a customer of either Whole Foods or Amazon, what does it mean to you, especially over the next few years? This is what excites me because I'm not even going to pretend to understand Amazon's business model because I don't. I am not smart enough, and I'm happy to admit that. I think most people would be. But when you start looking at all their consumer pieces with Echo and Alexa, with the Dash button, which I put a link in the rundown here for the updated Dash wand that just came out. When you have Amazon Fresh combined with Whole Foods, I think as a customer, it's gonna, assuming Amazon does it, it's gonna give you so many more options for your food purchasing, from just walking into the store and buying things like you do now, all the way to I scan the barcodes when I run out of things in my fridge, and automatically Wednesdays at 5 p.m. as I leave work, I stop at Whole Foods and my food is there ready for me just to pick up, and it knows what I want. And everything in between. And every version of that. Like, to me as a customer, that's very exciting. Because we talked about the Amazon convenience store that apparently I see stories every couple of weeks that does not fucking work and that it's just a nightmare. But that's the future we want, is the shopping experience that is integrated and easy and straightforward, and food is a good way to do that. And with Amazon owning all the different pieces, then boom, you get the big data piece, right? And it's like now Amazon knows what's in your fridge and when it's going bad. And Sean buys milk every week, so I have to make sure the Whole Foods near Sean has the milk he likes.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God. Problem is they got to make it all work, but
right. No, but I can certainly see it happening. It's crazy because the more I think about it, the more I can see them being kind of like ubiquitous in a way that like Google could never hope to be, right? It's like, I mean, I guess it's like a different part of your life. Like there are ways that there are things that Google will know about you that Amazon will absolutely never know. But the opposite is true too. And then same goes for Facebook. Like Facebook's a different slice of the U pie that is being harvested. I'm getting sad.
I know our lives are only going to get worse. No,
yeah.
I mean when you really the interesting thing about groceries is that's one of the more personal things you buy.
Yeah, right.
And it's the kind of thing you like to pick out in person, and it's the kind of thing you like to spend time doing. It's one of the few things that you like to go to the store and actually do.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that will change. I'm not saying that's a permanent theory. I'm saying today that's how people feel about groceries. I think clothes are facing a similar problem in purchasing online. And again, I think it's getting better. But there are just some experience. And that's why Amazon really is going to, I think, be the first online retailer to take a big crack at it.
At groceries?
At groceries properly. I mean, I know other people have done it. Most, if not all, have failed.
Right.
I'm curious. I mean, this is the kind of step. Actually, buying a supermarket chain is the kind of thing you have to do if you want it to work.
Right.
Because the companies that just like build big warehouses full of fruits and vegetables haven't worked, and companies that just partner with supermarkets haven't really worked.
Right. Yeah, and that was the interesting thing. There's like the Stratechery article goes through like the ways in which groceries are way different than other retail. Namely that the shit goes bad, right? Like books, it never expire. Books last forever. You could keep them in a warehouse for decades, hundreds of years maybe, and they'll still be as good as the day you put them in. But groceries don't, and so if you don't sell them, they go bad and you have to throw them away. So like you need to be like trading in enough. You need to have enough volume going through that you can, like pad your losses, right? Like I'm sure something's gonna go bad. I'm sure every single supermarket in the world throws shit away all the time. But you gotta like figure out
and that's what supermarkets have never had is the data behind their purchases in the way the reason why Amazon can promise you something will get to your house in 2 days is because they know what you're probably going to buy. They know where it's located in a warehouse, and they know how many they need and how quickly they can get it to you. And they're the best in the world at this. And if they can apply that knowledge and expertise to food, which there's a great, I wish I remember what book I read this in because I read a lot of books, but there was a Webvan back in the .com, late 90s, early 2000s. They spent billions on warehouses to ship groceries to your door. Beautiful warehouses, state-of-the-art, top of the line, and little things like fruit bruises. You can't throw it down a conveyor belt.
Right.
But those are the things that's why it's still such a human-powered process of not only growing food, but picking food, packing food, shipping food, unloading food.
Right. And like food being a natural thing, there's variance between apples, and like if you go to the store and look at all the apples, like you can actually probably pick out a better apple, like better apples on the whole than you might get if you just selected randomly.
But then this is where my mind starts going. Machine learning can pick the best apple out of the bunch.
That's true. Yeah.
I feel like today, where 10, 15, 20 years ago, the technology did not exist, and a company like Amazon did not exist to make this work.
Well, and that's the I feel like that's why you got to buy the actual grocery store, right? Because you can set up all this like food distribution stuff and make money off it at the grocery store, like in the way that we know works.
And immediately,
and figure out right away, like right now, they're doing that, and then figure out what to do in the distribution centers to do this other, like, possibly infinitely cool, mind-blowing stuff with groceries.
Oh my God, Colby. This is either going to be the best thing ever or the worst thing ever.
Probably the worst thing ever. Like, what are we going to do when we don't have jobs anymore, Sean? How will we buy food?
We'll buy it right from Amazon. That's what we'll do.
We'll just have like Amazon credits or something.
Hey, don't laugh. It's coming. Yeah, dangerous stuff. So let's see about some other stuff here in the rundown. We've managed to do the majority of our time on that, but I still think it was a great story, and I'm glad we did. I was very excited to talk about that. We've got some other stuff here in the rundown. Spotify sponsored songs, the Supreme Court on Facebook, Uber's douchey CEO. We've got banning phones for tweens. I don't know what's anything in there worth discussing. You've controversial
What is this sponsored songs thing?
Sponsored songs. I'm glad you asked, Colby. Spotify is reportedly testing sponsored songs and playlists. So here's how it would work. As a free tier subscriber, songs would appear in your playlist, and it would be kind of highlighted out as being sponsored, and you would be able to save the song or add it to additional playlists. The songs are chosen to match your existing music tastes, are instantly playable, and are savable just by clicking Save the Song. Spotify has claimed that they are just testing it, and if you see it in your Spotify app as a test, you do have the ability to turn it off with a toggle in the display options.
I think this is fine as long as it doesn't come into my Spotify that I pay for.
Well, I think about that, and then I read that apparently Spotify lost $389 million last year.
Oh, no.
And it has $1 billion in debt.
Oh, no.
So...
do you ever wonder, like, maybe Apple just, like... it's just waiting. It's just waiting for the ship to sink. And then what are you going to do? Right. Like, there's no Ardio's gone. Like, what? Pandora? It's not the same thing. Well, I guess it kind of is now.
Pandora just had to take a big chunk of money from SiriusXM. Just did a big investment in them. Bought like half the company because they were struggling. No. A SoundCloud is like on its death throes, which is terrifying as someone who has 2 shows hosted on SoundCloud. I really hope they don't go away. This is why you need to hire somebody to build you an RSS feed. Yeah, I mean, honestly...
Well, that's what we can do, Sean. After SoundCloud folds, we can just build our own, and then we'll be fine.
Isn't that what the SoundCloud guys said a few years ago?
Probably. We can have a good run, though. Like, what's it been, like 5 years? Yeah, I'm sure they're fine, right?
Oh, look, Colby, we'll pool our money. We'll get about $100, and we'll go buy SoundCloud when they go bankrupt, and we'll relaunch it as SoundCloud 2.
All right.
And it'll be fine. No, actually, I don't. As far as like sponsored shit goes, this is not the worst. Like, if the song actually does mix in with the playlist pretty well,
yeah.
Even
have you?
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, well, like on that topic, have you noticed that they started doing the thing where if you like listen to a playlist and get to the end, it'll just keep playing music after that is like similar to the playlist? I feel like I don't even notice when it happens at this point. Which is pretty impressive.
And so would you be mad if you found out a company paid to have
me listen to that?
Even if you liked the song and it made sense. That's what I'm saying. Like, after the fact, after listening, someone told you.
Right. I guess maybe I would feel a little duped. I think I feel like it might be frustrating if you were listening to a playlist in order and like a random song came up I feel like that would be frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
If there was some meaning to the order. But like if you're listening to it non-shuffled, you probably know what the order is if it's a playlist you made. But if it's on shuffle, I guess it's fine.
I've just got to stand by the fact that free means no rules. I really do feel that. Because people at this point, this stuff is not expensive. And I realize not everybody has money, but at the same time, like, music isn't free. And you're going to have to pay for it at some point. And in exchange for having the free product, this is not... There are, believe me, much worse ads and crap they could put in your Spotify than slipping in a song or two into a playlist. So, totally. I don't love the idea, but I do genuinely feel that outside of... You know, I used to be a Pandora free user, and they put in so many ads, and the ads were... And they always do the... Hey, I'm John Hull from Hall & Oates, and we're on tour coming to your town this summer. And I'm like, I don't want to hear that. Yeah. But it was free. And you know what? I ponied up the cash, and I paid for the pro version, and I don't miss the ads at all. So, you know, I don't know. I'm going to be laid back about this.
Right. It is pretty, like, non-destructive. It's still music,
and just
right?
skip it if you don't like it.
Yeah.
The only thing is, I do agree with you that it would be really startling if I was watching or if I was listening to the playlist and then suddenly like a song I was not expecting at all popped up.
Yeah.
So I guess they got to be a little smooth about that.
They still do ads in the free version of Spotify, right? So like maybe it's more normal to have unexpected stuff pop in, but
oh my God, $1 million idea. You ready for this? I think Spotify should offer users the chance to pay to screw with other people's playlists. Hang with me here. So, Colby, you could go on and be like, Sean listens to too much soft rock. I need to get him to listen to more modern music. So you pay Spotify like a few bucks, and you get to do whatever you want with my play. So you get to, and you can add music, Colby's sponsored music, in my playlists.
That'd be actually really... I would do that at least once.
They'd make
probably
so much
two
money.
or three times. There are several people I would do that to.
Yep. Just jokes with friends and just fucking around with playlists and stuff. I think that's a winning idea.
That's a great idea.
You're welcome, Spotify. These ideas come for free.
Oh man.
Let's see.
You should write that off on your taxes.
$1 million idea.
Million dollar idea.
I think Donald Trump did that on his taxes.
Yes, I think so.
Let's see. We've got time for one more story.
I feel like it's your choice now.
Gosh, do you have strong opinions about tweens with cell phones? Are we officially old men enough to complain?
I don't know
if
I have strong opinions, but I have opinions.
So apparently, Colorado. Have you heard of them?
Yeah.
The Colorado.
Yes.
Yes, the Beehive State.
The Beehive State.
A man named Tim in the state of Colorado has put together a ballot initiative. You know, Colby, have I ever talked to you about ballot initiatives?
I was gonna say, is Colorado one of the states where like anybody can just sort of propose a ballot initiative and like y'all vote on it?
Basically, you get enough signatures,
like California, yeah.
And they say the best part is a state lawyer has to review it to make sure it could actually be a law. So you can't just write anything.
Oh, that's nice.
But doing that, yes, no, like many states, especially California, yes, you can get anything on the ballot. That's why ballot initiatives are my favorite part of the democratic process in the United States, because people just make up laws and you can vote on them. It's great. So anyway, I get excited, but. This man in the Denver area, has gone ahead and put together a proposal that would ban the sale of smartphones to children younger than 13. The proposal would require retailers to submit reports to the state government verifying that they had inquired about who each sold smartphone was intended to be used by, and fine those that repeatedly sell phones to be used by younger children and pre-teens. Tim said, quote, eventually kids are going to get phones and join the world, and I think we all know that, but little children, there's just no good that comes from that. He'll need to get 300,000 signatures to get on the ballot next November. Now this coming November, the following in 2018.
So I guess I'll say, like, I feel like kids under 13 not having cell phones seems infinitely reasonable. But maybe I'm just an old man. Like, I didn't have a cell phone when I was under 13, so obviously that's a terrible reason to do anything. The well, I had to defense. Gosh, I don't know. Like, I just can't. I can't even like wrap my head around what it must be like to have grown up when the internet existed.
Terrifying.
Like your whole life.
Terrifying.
It's terrifying for us to think about, but like we haven't been like steeped in it our whole lives. Like we remember a time when that wasn't a thing. Like everything is different now. And it's not even like, if that was your life, I feel like you can't identify that it's different. You just don't know.
Wow, that's deep.
Need to hyperventilate a little. Get my paper bag. But I don't know what that means.
You know, for me, I don't think kids under 13 should have smartphones, but I do feel like kids under 13 should have some sort of electronic communications device. And that's for me, and I know that people have tried these and they have never caught on, but I don't know why there isn't some sort of better alternative for kids.
Right.
I'm not saying like give them a flip phone. I'm saying like there's got to be some sort of Apple Watch-esque.
Yeah, like in between thing. No, that seems like pretty practical, because I agree. There's like a pretty large utility in being able to like call your child or something, or your child being able to call you. And like suggesting, I feel like suggesting otherwise, it just being kind of like stuck in the past, I guess.
Well, yeah. I know I have a family friend who has a niece. I don't know many young people, so stay with me. And I think she's 14 now, but when she was like 11, she got an iPod Touch, which is, it's basically an iPhone. And it does all the same shit, you know? So it's, I don't know, I feel like there are lots of ways to circumvent, an iPad circumvents this law, so.
Like not having a smartphone probably doesn't mean you won't be on the internet, right? It's like,
no.
And pretty much anything you can do on a phone, like without the internet, you could also do on the internet.
Basically.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like the thing, I don't know. It's like this is changing all throughout life, but like people can just know things like that they wouldn't have been able to know before. And like kids can know things that they wouldn't have been able to know before. Because we're so seamlessly connected to everybody else, I guess.
Well, I'm a grown-ass man, okay, in case you weren't aware. And my mother still makes me text her when I arrive at a place I told her I was going.
Me too.
So I can't imagine a time when people would just leave and you didn't know if they'd come back and you didn't know how to reach them where they were. And you were like, they could be dead.
Oh, I'll see you in 2 weeks or a month or something.
Yeah, I'm flying to God knows where. And you're like, okay, I have no way to know if that's true.
I'll write you a letter when I get there.
Yeah, you might get a postcard. That's about as far as that goes. It's crazy to me. God, we're so old.
Oh, yep. It's almost over.
It happened.
You know, I realized the other day that like there are things I've been doing for a decade, like, or more, like 10 years. Shit.
Yeah. A
right?
decade is less than half your life.
Yeah. A lot less, like
Yeah.
a whole 5 years less than half my life.
Yeah, man, oh boy, better start getting us into that retirement home.
Yep. You putting stuff in your 401k, Sean?
Oh boy, it's adding up. Gotta get
Yep.
that corporate match.
Yep.
I remember back in my day, we used to plug the phone into the computer to go on America Online.
Oh.
Did you kids remember AOL keywords? The man used to say, "I got mail."
He did say that.
Kids these days.
Yeah.
90s kids will remember. All right. Let's put a pin in that because we're just about out of time, but we do have enough time for picks. And you actually have a tech pick this week, but I'm going to jump in first because I cheated and did a book pick. Over the last 2 weeks, I've picked 3 books, which tells you a couple things. One, I haven't been using enough technology, and 2, I've had a lot of free time to read books. And this one was actually recommended by an old coworker of mine, but I've read the author before, and I really, 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 really enjoyed this book. Devil in the White City is the name of the book. Subtitle: Murder, Magic, and the Madness at the Fair That Changed America. I know it's very dramatic. It's by Erik Larson, who is a really great author. Actually, I just bought one of his other books to read. But this tells the story of the 1893 Chicago's World Fair, which I'm going to guess most people know nothing about. I knew nothing about. And that alone is an interesting story, but it tells a parallel story, and Erik Larson does this a lot, about a man named Dr. Holmes, H.H. Holmes, who, a lot of people don't know this as well, is one of the most famous serial killers in the history of America. He's kind of been lost to the history of time. But during the time of the fair, he was actively murdering people in Chicago while they were building the fair. And not like, like crazy serial killer, but like psychopath type serial killing back when that was a new phenomenon and people would just go missing in Chicago and no one would, because they didn't have smartphones. They had no way to know if they were alive. And he literally would I'm not going to spoil the whole book, but he would literally write letters to these women's families and be like, "Oh, she went to Europe. I haven't heard from her." And they'd have no way to know.
Oh,
and they
God.
literally thought it was true because that's what would happen. You would just go to Chicago and never be heard from, and that was okay. And that's how he got away with murdering all these people. It really is a fascinating. I knew nothing about this time in history and about Chicago. It's a really good book. I greatly enjoyed it, and I would recommend Devil in the White City. The link will be on the website. You can check it out there. All right, Colby, you have a bit more of a normal pick. What are you showing off this week?
Yeah, so the fancy, too expensive to-do list thing that I use called Things recently upgraded. They did a new version, and it's called Things. It's Things 3 instead of Things 2. And as they do, can't blame them. Things 2, it doesn't stop working, it keeps working, but the sync thing, it stops working. It's like, oh, you have to upgrade to Things 3. Sorry. And so I upgraded I feel like the iOS version was kind of reasonable, but the desktop one was really expensive, which feels unreasonable to me because it does exactly the same thing, but it's fine. I upgraded, and I actually really like the redesign. They legitimately made the app better. It wasn't just a fancy new skin. It is easier to use for the things that I use it for. So if you are in the market for, I don't know, something I feel like the other comparable thing is OmniFocus.
Yeah.
I think that's the one I'm thinking of. I feel like these are the two I don't know if high end, but power user to-do list things. Yeah. I definitely don't power user this either. I'm really not using it to its full potential. But if you do that sort of thing and I don't know, you're perusing for a new one, it does get better. Or if you're a Things 2 user and you're I don't know if I want to, it might be worth it. So yeah, that's all I got on that front.
No, it's. I always wish I had the Drive. I always want to use one of these apps.
Yeah.
Instead,
yeah.
I just write Post-it notes and stick them. I literally, my notes are like these gibberish. Literally, if 3x5 cards, I have piles of them. I'm not even kidding. They're literally everywhere. And so really, I should just get an app. Yes, it is available, as you mentioned, for Mac, iPad, and iPhone, although they're going to hit you up for $50 on Mac, $20 on iPad, and $10 on iPhone. So,
oh, that's right. You had to buy the iPad one separately. That's the one I was most irked by.
Yeah.
They had like right after they released this, they had like an introductory price as sort of a like for everybody who's upgrading kind of thing. So I didn't quite pay the full price on any of those, which was nice. But yeah, it's a lot of money.
And they do have a 15-day free trial of the Mac version, so you can give that a shot if you'd like as well.
And they also don't charge for the sync like between devices, which I feel like would be the obvious thing to their other alternative would be to charge less for the apps or nothing for the apps and charge you to like sync around. So in a way, this is better because this like, you know, they don't upgrade the app every year. Like I've been using things for like 3 years or more. And they haven't, you know, this is the only time it's ever upgraded. And I've had to repay, you know, whatever, $60. But yeah, it's I like it well enough. I've been trying to use it more, and I feel like I've been getting more out of it.
I was just trying to think. The last task manager type app I used was Remember the Milk. Remember that one from way back?
I remember you telling me about that.
Yes, it was. Turns out, I went to their website. It's exactly the same as it was 5 years ago when I used it. So
consistency, man.
It is. Well, you know, some people don't like change. Very cool. All right. Well, Things 3, Devil in the White City. Those links and all the other links will be on our website at don'tpanic.io. You should go there. It's very nice. Colby worked very hard on it, and he'll be sad if you don't go there. Look at him. He's so sad if you don't. He's crushed. He's tears. So go check that out, don'tpanic.io. All the episodes, including the past episodes, the audio and video, are right there on the website. And there's also links to where you can get the show, because we're everywhere. Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, TuneIn Radio, Stitcher Radio, in all the major podcasting apps, including Overcast. You can subscribe in all those places. The video version is on YouTube at youtube.com/don'tpanicshow. And, of course, you can reach out to us on Twitter at Don't Panic Show, on our Facebook page at facebook.com/Don't Panic Show, where we stream the show live Monday nights when Facebook agrees to work, and, of course, our email, don'tpanicshow@gmail.com. I do want to give one other quick teaser for Coffee and Beer Radio, which is the 5-minute daily version of the Coffee and Beer Podcast Network shows. It is on anchor.fm/Coffee and Beer, or you can find the podcast version in all the same places. Just search Coffee and Beer Radio. And those clips are a lot of fun, and I think you'll enjoy them if you check it out. That is it for this week. We will be back next week with more tech news. I'm sure who knows who Amazon will buy next week. So that's why you got to tune in. You'll find out. Maybe they'll buy Walmart. Maybe they'll buy, CVS. Who knows? We'll find out, though. On behalf of Colby, and yes, Dan, he will be back next week. This is Sean. Thanking you for joining us. Hoping we'll see you next time for more tech news and good times here on Don't Panic.